Hey, what's going on, everybody? Manny here once again. Welcome to DFS Zone. I have a new NBA DFS video for you guys today. We're going to go over this 8-game slate in the association. But before I get started with the video, I greatly appreciate you guys drop a like. If you're new to the channel, it's your first time here, just stumble upon the channel. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by, taking a look at the video. The only thing you need to do to be a part of the community here and get access to the videos on a regular basis is to become a subscriber. As simple as that. So make sure before you go, you subscribe down below. And don't forget to turn on that bell icon so this way you don't miss out on any of my new uploads. And I upload an NBA video every day of the week, Monday through Saturday, until the NFL season concludes. When it does, then there will be 7 games covered all week long, as well as the entire season for the entire season all the way through the playoffs. So again, a lot of content coming your way. So if you want to be able to get some added information that can help you out with a few lineups, a couple of changes, it's just, whatever information will help you to make decisions, then the only thing you need to do is to become a subscriber. In this channel also, I offer my community members here, my subscribers, I give them all an opportunity. Sorry about that. I give them all an opportunity. I run a weekly drawing for my player pool. It's Monday to Monday, one winner. You get the pool every single day sent over to you entirely free. That's me giving back to you guys and giving you guys an opportunity to hopefully that player pool helps you narrow down some plays on a daily basis. That player pool is also available. I started a Patreon page, so if you want to become a patron and be able to help me out, that'll be great. That information is in a link in the description down below. I have GPP, cash play lines, as well as value plays, and I have weekly and monthly tiers for both of those things, as well as player pool. So if you wanted to get access to that particular player pool, go on down, take a look at my Patreon page and look at the tiers. And if you want to get aboard, you can and become a member of the Team DFS Zone community there. That'll be awesome. That also would include with the monthly tier. That includes also a private Discord chat. Obviously, you would need to give me your Discord information, so this way I can invite you to the chat. And other than that, my plans are as my Patreon page grows with members and I get more than enough members in there, I plan to actually include in there a private live stream prior to lock. So this way we know that I'm basically sitting down with my community and giving the best possible information, do Q&A and so on and so forth, all on that live stream. So again, a lot of exciting stuff. If you want to be a part of that, take a look at it. Just go to the link in the description down below of the video. Okay, other than that, if you want to be a part of that player pool, the only thing you have to do is like, comment on the video, and of course, become a subscriber to the channel. As long as you do all 3 of those things, you are eligible to be able to get that player pool that you will have access to also, if you were a Patreon member. All right, with that being said, man, let's just move on. Today, we're going to go over the injury news. There's a couple of things that I got to point out to you guys beforehand. Injuries, especially Houston, it could be, again, another thing that's very important, folks. Today's an 8-game slate. I discussed not so long ago some tips on larger slates because I'm mostly a GPP player. The bottom line is, like a day like today, I'm still unsure in some positions, especially at small forward. It's like really, really bad. But I'm probably going to have maybe two different core lines. So I don't want you guys to never come here, watch the video real quickly, skim through it, and just look at the plays and say, hey, you know what, I'm just going to pencil in these 5 plays. I know all the other sites, all the other people that do DFS pretty much give the same advice, and it's no different here. You can't just plug and play these players. You got to stay on top of the news. You got to watch this all the way through. It's a grind. That's why I just say the grind continues every day, because it's a grind. NBA DFS, just daily fantasy sports in general, especially when it comes to team sports. So you got to stay on top of the news, and NBA is really one of the worst because you really have to watch it all the way to the very end. So it's very important. Don't just plug and play the players. This is me just taking a look at it 4, 5, 6 hours before the slate. If you become a member of the Patreon page, you're going to get more information from me later in the day as far as what I think is after I do some more research, because right now I'm looking at it as far as matchup, as far as fantasy point totals, as far as minutes and usage, which I preach a whole lot here at DFS Zone. And those are some of the basic things you have to look at. Then you got to look at the matchups and look a little bit deeper into some more stats, team defense efficiency, 3-point shooting, turnover ratio, you name it. It's just a number of other things you got to try to pinpoint and look to see, to try to match up the best possible plays for the day. But also a lot of things can change from here to then. So it's very important, please, do not just pencil in the players, because what I may give now, I may not have in my own lineup later on in the day, but if you are a part of Team DFS Zone, you're going to be able to have a little bit more, exclusive information when that time comes. So again, no plug and play, and nothing's guaranteed nowhere. The players have to play, coaches have to coach, and sometimes we got all kind of stuff going on in the NBA. All right, so injury news. Capella out with the concussion. Obviously, they're going to be thin up front. Houston. Daniel House is with the back injury. Game time decision. If he doesn't go, it's going to definitely really deplete Houston. You got Westbrook. Game time decision with rest. I would think if House is out and knowing Capella's out, I think tonight will probably be a day that maybe Westbrook play. If he plays, I like Westbrook a little bit more just because of the price point and his upside potential as opposed to Harden. But then again, no Westbrook, you got to consider Harden. The bumps here for these guys, Tyson Chandler obviously up front is going to get possibly 20 minutes, 25. He is pretty good with getting you 0.90, maybe even 1 point per minute. So Chandler could be an option. Cephalosius is someone they might consider putting in. I know he played a few minutes. He could be a sneaky guy. Macklemore, of course, is in play. And then the biggest value will probably be Austin Rivers. So keep that in mind. When it comes to Indiana, their opponent, you're looking at Jeremy Lamb is out, and of course Turner is still out. So the bumps are there. Brogdon, McConnell's been getting 20 to 22 minutes. He could be very sneaky. Aaron Holiday's been getting quite a bit of minutes too, so keep him in mind. And then of course you got T.J. Warren and Sabonis, all those guys up front between T.J. and Sabonis and Goga, who's back today. Batazi should be options for you guys. When we go to Detroit, Tony Snell, game time decision. We know Reggie Jackson is still out. The bump right now is Bruce Brown, of course, and Lanston Galloway. They've been getting the minutes. When it comes to Charlotte, game time decision with Dwayne Bacon with the knee. If he is out, obviously the bump the last time went to Monk. And, of course, you're going to still consider there Devontae Graham and Terry Rozier. They're the key guys taking the most shots for that team, at least in the backcourt. When you go to Minnesota, you still have doubtful Shabazz Napier. If Napier is out, obviously what I'm really more concerned with that game is I'm looking forward to seeing if they're going to start Jeff Teague or not, because Jeff Teague at the price point here on FanDuel, I really like him a lot. His price point also on DK is fantastic. So if he is slotted to play and he's going to be good to go with his illness and maybe play more like 30 minutes or more of his regular minutes of 30 or plus minutes, Jeff Teague will be an awesome play, especially on DK. Wiggins obviously gets a bump with this situation, and then of course Travion Graham has been getting quite a bit of minutes, but this is more about Jeff Teague and Culver. If Culver starts, then I like Culver a little bit. If Jeff Teague starts, then I'll probably pivot over to Jeff Teague because this game is you got to have exposure to the Washington-Minnesota game. Okay. Other news: OKC game time decision for Diallo. Not too much of a concern there. Alexandria, of course, and Schroeder are going to get their share of a little bit of an increase with him not playing as much. But these guys are going to take massive shots as well. Of course, Sacramento, we still have Fox out for a long period of time. Trevor Ariza is a game time decision with a groin. I would think he's more than likely out because groins are really hard to come back to really recuperate really quickly from. And then Dwayne Dedman, game time decision with his knee. If that is the case, then you got Hield, Bogdanovich, you got Holmes and Belicia. All of them get a bump. Obviously, the ones that will be a little more intriguing to me would be the front court guys because Bogdanovich and Hield, even though they're going to take a lot of shots, their price tags, especially Bogdanovich, it's just jumped up so considerable here on shooting at the shooting guard level here on FanDuel that I'm a little hesitant to go with him. Holmes and Belicia will probably be better bets. LA Lakers, Avery Bradley, I believe, is out. Anthony Davis is a game time decision with the ribs. We don't know if he's 100%. If he happens to be out for whatever reason, obviously LeBron James is in play. And then, of course, Kuzma is in play as well. And up front, you got to consider McGee and Howard as well if you wanted to go that route. And we don't know what's the status with Rajon Rondo as far as how many minutes he will play. He would be intriguing as well at his price point. Okay, in Boston, Gordon Hayward out. Daniel Theis is a game time decision with the finger. If he happens to go, obviously that will hurt a little bit Cantor in a way. But then again, if he doesn't play, I do like Cantor for his price point. If they say that Cantor is going to start and he's going to get more than 25 minutes, if he gets closer to 30 minutes, he's good for 1.1 fantasy points per minute. I see him at that price tag being an option. And then, of course, you have Jaylen Brown, of course, and Jason Tatum have gotten the biggest bumps since the injury to Hayward, and then you always can consider Smart, but I am not on there. All right, let's go over the point guard. Let's go over a couple plays here. Again, none of these are set in stone. Russell Westbrook obviously will be in play for his price point of $9,500 here on FanDuel. I would definitely have him in my player pool for the time being. It all varies depending on the deal there. If he is out, man, I mean, I don't know what Houston's going to do in a game like this against Indiana. It could be pretty scary that Indiana could really pull away on this one, even in Houston. But I would assume he's going to play. If he does play, we're good to go with Westbrook over Harden as far as the savings are concerned. He has a good upside, 55, 60 or better if he has a great night. So I would go there. Kemba Walker, good matchup against Golden State. I'm okay with that. I like his price point at 8,200 on DK. So, I mean, he would be someone to consider. But I'm going to come down. Look, I've been on this guy several times. Brogdon has had a couple of games where he's putting up large fantasy point totals before the half and even into the start of the third quarter, and then the team either gets in a blowout or they blow somebody out and they find themselves sitting him, which is rightfully so the right thing to do. But I'm on him again today. This is like the fourth time this year I'm going to be on Brogdon. I do like Rozier with his upside being $800 cheaper than Brogdon in a matchup against Detroit, and Detroit has had their issues definitely with their point guard, so I will have some exposure to him as well. The only thing is that he is a little bit shakier as opposed to Brogdon is a little bit more consistent. I think Brogdon is capable of getting you that 40-45 you need in a game like this. But again, anything can happen due to the fact that they could be a blowout. He only played 25 and 29 minutes the last game, but look at the numbers. 20 and 19 from the floor. Been putting up decent numbers. 31 to as high as 36 fantasy points. At 8,200, you need 41. He's 7,600 on DK, so you only need 36. A guy that's averaging you 41, 42 on DK, that is not bad at all with a 50-point upside. He could definitely get you 50 or better, and a good shooting night. He's shooting 47% from the floor, 33 from three, and his usage rate is still at 27%, and of course it increases a little bit more, obviously, since the injury to Lamb. And Turner, taking 15 to 16 shots a game and taking about 3 or 4 threes. If he could just bury those at that 40 to 45% clip, he should be fine. The only concern is if Houston is not going to play with Russell Westbrook, I mean, it's just for me, it's going to be difficult to probably keep Brogdon as a main guy here, and I probably might pivot over to somebody else like a Paul or a Rozier. That might be an option. Other than Brogdon, there's a couple guys. Now, granted, they're going up against Houston. They're ninth in defending point guards. They're allowing 26.4 fantasy points per game, which is not bad at all. But over the course of the last 3 games, they have given up 34.4 fantasy points per game. So they're trending downward as far as how they're defending point guards. But then again, they have faced a couple good guys. Drew Holiday put up 45. Morant put 38 up. And Satoransky put up close to 29 against them. But I think Brogdon is in a great spot. This is a guy that is an integral part of the offense, has the ball in the hands a lot, is an offensive weapon, is going to take tons of shots. His usage is high. He's one of those kind of point guards that they need the offense from. Not every point guard is in that position, but Malcolm Brogdon is on this team. So he's a very big part of the team, and that's one of the reasons that I think even though Houston has only given up 34 fantasy points per game, is still an opportunity for Brogdon to put up 40 or better. I have no problem with Rozier at 7,400. He's just a little up and down with the minutes and, of course, with his shooting. But if he could get consistent, he can be dangerous. He definitely has 50-point upside. Great GPP play there. Chris Paul, 6,900, no problem there. When it comes to DK, I like Rozier, 6,600. I think that's an option there. You only need 33 there. Connolly, 6,400 is not bad at all. I could see myself going there. Good price points for Alexander at 5,900, a guy that can get you 40, 45, even a 50 spot. He is definitely in play. You can do this. You can say the same for Schroeder. The one I like the best is Jeff Teague. If he happens to play, he is 5,300 on DK, only needing 27. He's definitely good for 30 or better if he plays 30 minutes in that matchup. And then you can also go with the guy that he's going up against. Isaiah Thomas is also the same price at 53, but I would prefer Teague over Thomas, at least at this moment. Another guy, Corey Joseph, getting some minutes. Obviously, with the injury to Fox, his price tag is up at 4,600 on DK. Could be an option as well. And then, of course, if there's no Westbrook, you got to consider value play in Austin Rivers, for the Houston team. Let's go over the shooting guard. A shooting guard at the top. We got Harden. Again, no Westbrook. You could consider Harden. I'm not going to be on Harden today. I kind of like a couple of the bigs if I want to pay up a little bit. I'll probably go somewhere else. But James Harden is definitely someone you can consider because he can definitely get 70 or better any given day. But I'm going to come down here. I do like Russell a lot better for $200 cheaper than Beal in his matchup because he's at home. 2, it's a tough matchup against Boston. But nonetheless, for what he's getting as far as minutes and usage and the amount of shots he's taking, he is pretty much the offense for Golden State. So as long as he's burying shots and he's taking as many shots as he has been taking, you have to always consider DeAngelo Russell no matter who he's playing against. So I'm okay with Russell at 9,100. His price tag is a little bit better, 8,000 on DK. I mean, that's definitely really nice. You only need 40 there. That's pretty much around his average. Wiggins has been on fire. If Jeff Teague is there, it definitely depletes Wiggins a little bit as far as usage and shots. It definitely helps out Towns a little bit more with Jeff Teague playing. But Andrew Wiggins, he's been on fire, man. He's been great. I've used him quite a bit over the last stretch, a few games, and he's been absolutely wonderful. But again, this is a good game to target some players. You could definitely team stack or even game stack this game because this is the highest implied total game of the night, Washington and Minnesota. So again, I forgot to point that out. You should have exposure to it. So if you wanted to go Wiggins, it's fine. I really do like the Culver or Jeff Teague with Towns more so in this matchup. But then again, Wiggins is someone you got to consider if you're going to target this game. I am coming down to Donovan Mitchell going up against the Memphis Grizzlies, who have had issues with point guards. They're 29th in defending point guards. Mitchell, 8,600. You need pretty much from him about 43 to me value here. He's averaging 40. He's at 39 or better, pretty much a 40 spot in the last 2 games. Granted, over the last 5 games, he's 5 out of the last 6 games, he's been pretty much at 40 or better. So he's shown consistency there, which is great for cash play in a favorable matchup. But he also has the upside here in this matchup where he can definitely get you 50 or better. So I don't really love a lot of players in the entire slate, but this matchup for Donovan Mitchell I think is really good. The minutes are there for him. He's playing 33 minutes or better. He's averaging 25, 5, and 4. He does a little bit of everything. Can get you some steals. As you can see here, the last 2 games, 30 and 23 from the floor. And we will love to see a little bit more peripherals here. If he can get some more steals, it will be awesome here on FanDuel because you get those 3 points per block and steal. But again, the games are solid. 5 of 7, at 39 or better. And I mean, he has slightly been moving up slowly but surely in the fantasy point totals, and that is important. He's shooting 48% from the floor, 41% from 3, so he's been shooting very well from all over the place so far this year. And he can get you rebounds, as you can see, they get you the assists. I would love to see more blocks and steals. His usage rate is at 30% at the moment. So, and he's also taking in the last 4 games, taking a lot more shots, as you can see, scoring 23 and 30 over the last 2. And that's because he's taking 22 to 23 shots a game. If he continues to shoot at that 48% clip, he should be fine here to get value here and actually exceed value in this matchup. He's taking 4 or 5 threes at the same time. He's going up against Memphis. They're 29th in defending shooting guards, and they've been allowing 31.8 fantasy points per game to opposing shooting guards. They give up 39 to Fournier, 49 to Wiggins over the course of the last 3 games. So, again, I do like the matchup. Granted, he is on the road, but nonetheless, he is, for me, a solid play here today against Memphis in this game. And Memphis is a paced-up team. These teams both are not the same teams that they used to be. They used to be known for defense. So Donovan Mitchell, for me, is in play. I have no problem with Russell, like I said. I do think I'm going to have some exposure to DeAngelo Russell, which I mentioned. I like his price tag on DK at 8,000. Alexander is 7,300 here, but he is definitely someone you got to consider on DK. He's an option there. Alexander is 5,900 on DK. Devontae Graham had a poor game, had him in the last game, didn't perform as well. Malik Monk ended up having the bigger game. Again, I think that he'll bounce back. He is someone that you got to keep an eye on. I think he's very talented. So Devontae Graham, 7,200. I'm going to fade away from Hield, and Bogdanovich is probably going to come back to bite me. But LA is a tough defensive team, even though Sacramento is not the same high-paced up team. I like the fact that Fox is out, but if Bogdanovich was only at, let's say, 6,000, I would probably consider that, but they jumped his price up quite a bit, so I am not on those guys. Dennis Schroeder is an option for you guys, 5,800. I think he's an option here. He's also an option also at 5,600 on DK. And Malik Monk, obviously you got to have him in your radar. Against Detroit, 5,000 here on FanDuel. On DK is also 5,000. Galloway's getting more than enough minutes. Other than that, Trevion Graham at 3,700 has been getting over 20 minutes at times. Could be someone to consider, but again, I think that's pretty much it. I do like Rose at 5,600 for DK, as well as Culver at 40. He's at 4,500, 4,400 here. Small forward. At the top, You got LeBron James. Obviously, if Davis is out, you got to always consider LeBron. At this moment, I'm not happy at all with the small forward spot. I really don't even have a pick here yet, to be totally honest with you. So I am pretty much fading the three guys on top. I'm not feeling them. Jonathan Isaac, same situation, a little up and down. He is in a favorable matchup going against 26th ranked defense against small forwards in San Antonio, and he is at home. So he may be an option. Luke Kennard is probably your safest bet. He is 6,600 here, 6,500 on DK. He's averaging 32 to 33 over the course of the last several games. So he's pretty consistent. He's probably a good cash play for you cash play players. For me, he'll be a safe play for me if I want to go with him today. I'm just not sure. I'm torn still from Luke Kennard. He doesn't have a huge upside. You know, he can get you high 30s. He's not going to get you. He hasn't really been putting 40s up. TJ Warren probably is the best guy here with the best upside, 6,400 in a favorable matchup against Houston. So you can go there. I'm just not sure yet if I'm going to go with Warren. He is 6,000 on DK, so if you wanted to go that route. Houston has been giving up 36.4 fantasy points per game to opposing small forwards. I just like Sabonis more with Brogdon, or maybe a Goga, Patazi with a Brogdon or a Sabonis for Indiana. But then again, it might be a nice team stacking these three guys if you wanted to go that route. I just don't think if Houston doesn't have Westbrook, I don't know if that's a good option. Could be a game where Houston may lose control of the game. Other than that, I mean, man, I really don't. I'm thinking Joe Crowder, just going up against his former organization, is an option. Revenge game narrative if you want there. Burks is just, now with Draymond Green back, I don't know. The good thing about him, he's probably out of this price range. He's probably the guy with the biggest upside, can get you 40 for sure. He has to play 25, 30 minutes and have a great shooting night for that to happen. But Jarrett Culver, I think, is probably the best option after that. 400 here, 4,500 on DK. I'm okay with either one of those. Bertans and maybe Markieff Morris at 4,000. I'm just undecided. So that's where I'm at. But again, if you follow along with me and you join the membership at patreon.com on the DFS Zone, by the end of the day, doing a little bit more research, I should be able to have that narrowed down to at least 2 or 3 plays at small forward. But we're going to go over to power forward. At power forward, we got Anthony Davis at the top. I do like Sabonis here a whole lot. I'm not going to even go any further than there. 9,500 for Domantas Sabonis. You need 47 to me value. He is 43. He needs 8,700 on DK. You need about 43 to me value there. He's averaging 44 to 45. He is a solid doubles guy. 19, almost 20 points a game, 13 rebounds, nearly 4 assists. And as you can see, he plays 29 minutes or better. Can get as high as 38 minutes. Has to probably, as you can see, last 4 games, 41 plus in 6 out of his last 6, not even 6 out of his last 7. Those are days that he didn't play. 6 games straight at least 42 fantasy points or better. So he is a safe cash play in a good matchup today where he should be able to do well. He has 50-point upside. I know I don't want to, but the beauty of 9,500 is that this guy is more than likely going to get you. He has a 95% chance, in my opinion, to hit 45 or 50. I'm going to go with him because there's not a whole lot to choose that will get you that 50. You follow what I'm saying? So Domantas Sabonis here, I do like the matchup. He's shooting 52% from the floor, 27% from 3, doesn't take a ton of threes. He is a great free throw shooter for a big guy, 85%. His usage rate is at 24%, and with Turner and no Jeremy Lamb, it has been bumped up to about 26.5, so that's a 2.5% bump since those guys have been injured. He's taking, in the last 2 games, he's been taking more shots from the floor, 18 and 19, pretty much from the floor per game, and he's averaging 16 rebounds, as you can see there, pretty much 15 to 16 over the last 4. So you're going to get tons of rebounds. He's going to be a workhorse. These guys are very thin up front. My only concern is hopefully Houston stays close enough in this game and that Westbrook plays. So this way he can stay competitive and give Domantas Sabonis a chance to put 50 or better with no problem. Other than Sabonis, if you wanted to go anybody, I think Blake Griffin on DK, 7,100 could be someone you can consider. You're going up against Charlotte, they're giving up nearly 32 fantasy points per game. Isaac at 6K, I like that price better than the 7,100 here. You could play him as small forward, power forward, eligible on DK. You're looking at San Antonio giving up 36.5 fantasy points per game. Hachimura, 5,100, needing 25, going up against a team that's giving up nearly 30 is an option. So you can go that way on that paced up game there, the high implied total game. Hachimura. Covington is definitely a little underpriced, but he's like up and down. He does have 40-point upside, 5,500. Not bad. 4,800 on DK is even a better price. You need 24. It's going up against a team that's giving up nearly 27 a game. Bielitsa at 5,100 is an option. PJ Tucker is going to be a workhorse for Houston tonight with the injuries to Capella. He's probably going to play. They're probably going to run a small lineup there time to time. So when Tyson Chandler's not in there, you could just figure PJ Tucker is going to slide into the 5, which he did several times last year. So 5,000, you need 25, but he is 4,500 on DK, which is even a better price. And then, of course, Daniel Theis. I think Theis is someone to consider here at 4,600. Gets you 22 to 25. Good point per minute player. He will be interesting. If he starts, then that will hurt Cantor a little bit because they'll try to run a little small unless they start him in the 4, which would be great. If they start him in the 4 and they keep Cantor in the 5, then I think those two guys would do fine here for Boston against Golden State. All right. And that's pretty much where I'm at with those guys. Let's go over to center. At center, at the top, Karl Anthony Towns obviously is in play. I was going to slot him in here, but I decided to change my tune a little bit. I will have exposure to him. I think you just got to have exposure to this matchup. And if Jeff Teague does start, I do like Towns with Jeff Teague as a team stack. Joel Embiid, 11,000, needing 55 here. Could go there. OKC, I can't see Steven Adams stopping him. He should be able to get 50 here. Drummond is a nice play here as well. The only thing is, Blake Griffin is playing. If he plays 30 minutes or better, you can see it already in the one game that he played. There was obviously, less rebounds to go around for Drummond. If Blake Griffin was to be out, it will probably be a better play. He is going up against Charlotte. It is a favorable matchup. You can go there. I'm going to come down to Rudy Gobert. I had him the last time. I'm going back to him again at 9,000. He's going up against Memphis. They're 25th defending centers. And he has been slowly but surely trending upward, playing really solid basketball. I was waiting for it, and I told you guys before, I'm not going to be on Rudy Gobert until he starts putting up some serious numbers. We know he's always going to play some defense, so you're going to get the peripherals for him. Blocks and steals, you can see, really, really good. But he's a double-double guy, 13 points, 13 rebounds. Not going to get a ton of assists, but look at his last few games, 49 and 52 over the last 2. He has 49 or better in 3 out of his last 4 games. So he's definitely trending upward from where he was at the beginning of the year. The minutes are there, 33, 34 minutes or better. He's shooting 67% from the floor, which is fantastic. His home and away splits, which I took a look at just to see where he's at because he's on the road. He is actually shooting better on the road, and he's actually performing better as far as fantasy point totals are concerned, shooting 68% from the floor on the road and averaging nearly 40 fantasy points per game as opposed to 33.5 at home. So Rudy Gobert, nice spot for him today. Double day. I think he's going to be just fine here in this matchup. He's also in the last few games has been taking 10 to 11 shots a game as opposed to his average of 8. And he's averaging 14 to as much as 17, 16 rebounds a game, as you can see that over the last 4 here right on your screen. So, Gobert, good spot. Good situations. Going up against Memphis, 25th in defending centers, allowing 34.7 fantasy points per game to opposing centers, especially over the last 3 or 4 games. If you didn't want to go Rudy Gobert, like I said, I will have exposure to Towns and Embiid, but very little. And those will be like my quarter GPPs. I tell you, I play a lot of lines, a lot of GPPs. So Towns and Embiid, figure about 10, maybe 15% of my lines. I do like Rudy Gobert for maybe 20, 25% of my lines today. And other than that, Thomas Bryant has me. I'm a little curious with Thomas Bryant. I'm going to look in a little bit more on him. I think he may be an option at 6,800. Do like that. If Willie Cauley-Stein will play 30 minutes or better, he will not be a bad play here. One guy that I'm definitely going to have some interest if he starts and he gets more than 30 minutes would be Cantor. Going up against Golden State, I think that's a great matchup for him. If he is going to be at that 30-minute mark, I think that he'll be excellent. And Goga Patazzi is definitely someone to consider here at 4,000. He should be back today. They're going to need that front court help against Houston. But I got a feeling, man, him and Sabonis is going to be a bit much for Houston. A little weary, man. I'm hoping that the Sabonis situation doesn't, backfire on me. But Goga Batazzi is definitely someone to consider at 4,000. He was averaging almost 29, 30 fantasy points in his last few games. And, at 4,000, you only need 20. So he is very much, and if you wanted to go real value, Tyson Chandler will be playing up front. I don't know how many minutes he plays because he usually plays only about 20, maybe max 25. But at 3,800, 20 to 25 minutes, he's a good point per minute guy also when he's very efficient and when he is getting his blocks and getting his rebounds. He can get you 18 to 20 here easily. I think he can get you 25 if he plays 25 minutes. So Tyson Chandler could be a nice value play there as well. And that's pretty much where I'm at. That is pretty much it. So guys, again, if you want to get more in-depth, exclusive content, you want to be able to get a little bit more information, come down, check out the Patreon page. Like I said, I got a couple of tiers there. Had a couple of people, man. Thank you so much for those 3 or 4 individuals that have signed up already. I greatly appreciate it. Let's build up the community there. Other than that, man, if you want to be on the weekly drawing, get the player pool narrowed down all the way down to the best possible plays through value as well as top tier and mid tier, the only thing you need to do is make sure to like the video, comment something down below regarding the slate, and make sure that you are a subscriber, and you'll be in that drawing for Monday's drawing. And that's pretty much it. So again, wish you guys a lot of luck. The grind is real. The grind continues. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.